Hello there, folks. Doug Rice, welcome to the show. Welcome, welcome, one and all. Thank you so much for showing up. Hopefully, first, foremost, I do have new equipment, a new mic. Hopefully, you can hear me because that's what I like. Starting off very early and trying to prose because I'm trying to do this for my Negroes. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Can you hear me? Folks, do I sound all right? How you doing, folks? 7 folks in, 8 folks in, and here we go again. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Shalom, shalom, Obadiah. How are you? I'm going to start looking at some of this chat. We are going to talk about this and about that. We have a lot to get caught up on, a lot to cover. And a lot of it won't be pleasant to discuss, won't be some good conversation. We're going to get caught up on the current news involving Diddy, involving this brother caught up in the chasm of caucasity, starting with Clive Davis. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into a lot of things, and then I'll scat. How you doing? Do me a favor, folks. Like, subscribe, share. Calvin, Andrus, always good. Obadiah here like I knew you could. And of course, Mr. Toller, peace and blessings to each of you I am addressing. All right, folks, you know the score. And need I say too much more? My name is Doug Rice. And I've been away for a while, and I'm now back to make you smile. No, I'm not. I'm here to wipe that smile off your face. Because on your face, the smile has no place. And if I see it, I'll consider it a disgrace. You know my name, you know my name, you know my saying. It's real easy, folks. And I say it, setting it aside, all jokes. Get that goddamned grin off your Negro faces. Oh, yes, folks, we're going to go in these places today. Look, folks, it's about done. I don't know what to tell you. This is about a wrap. The similarities and similitudes between Nazi Germany in its pre-formation stages and where we are as these white people rage is too similar. Too similar. It's too akin to what we have seen before. And now all of the indicators show we can no longer ignore. It is done, folks. These folks are coming off the rails. It's a wrap. They don't know if they want to shoot each other, bomb each other, nuke each other. They don't know what they want to do. They don't want to know. I mean, they don't know if they want to, poison one another, create diseases, create the cures. I mean, consider what we're up against. We are up against an infestation. That's what this is, folks. This is a parasitic, vampiric relationship. And now the light, the sun seems to be bringing it all to the light. I'm going to tell you something. I've spent the last few days, weeks, however long I have not been in front of you. I have been in front of them. And when I say them, I mean all of those to whom it applies. To those whom it doesn't, just let it fly by. Don't get offended. And you will more likely get offended if you listen to this show. Again, because as you might know, I speak truth to power and power to truth. And I do it all in this recording booth. I'm just joking. I'm in an office. All right, folks. So what do we got? What do we got? I'll tell you what we got. Diddy. And it's coming out in waves, and it's distracting from other things that are much more important that we pay attention to, like the de-dollarization of the globe. 160 some odd countries determining they will no longer use the SWIFT system. For you folks that don't understand what that system is, it's a system of financial exchange globally that the United States controls through its Jewish handlers. Oh, we're going to talk about the truth today, folks. And I will not bite my tongue. I've never done so and will never do so. So don't expect to see it. So that's right, folks. The financial control of the Kabbalah of evil, the synagogue of Satan, the grip is slowly being lost upon the world. The world is turning its back on homogeny, on American colonialism controlled by Jewish imperialism manifest in Zionism and soon to be gone. Now I know what it looks like, and I know. I know it looks like they're strong, but the tide will turn before too long. Let's not drift into global politics as of yet. There's a lot to be discussed, and we'll get to that. But Diddy is, Diddy is on my mind. I mean, how can he not be? We are inundated with Diddy news. Did he do it? Did he not? Did he? Of course he did. What else you got? Come on, man. Let's talk about it plainly, shall we? Clive Davis is the culprit. Clive Davis is the reason. Clive Davis is the monster, another member of the Jewish cabal of Zionism, whose sole focus is to bring about, I guess, a demalification of the globe, some sort of binary, sexually combined individual devoid of masculinism or feminism. And this is their purview. This is what they want to do. This is, in fact, the Jew. And you folks know I look at quite a few people when I look and I look and I look, and I even pick up a book. But look, Sister Deborah, do we need to talk about Sister Deborah and her exposing the sinister plot that is now in the schools? And it involves this dress up, make up mentality of men that, through banality, now and again go into these schools and make complete fools as they use the administration as tools. I want you all to get comfortable, because today I am on a tear. And yes, folks, I am going to go there. We are going to expose. We're going to talk. We're going to chit chat. We're going to be talking about this and about that. Back to Diddy, Clive Davis. This is the culprit. I want you to understand how many people are associated with their own demise regarding their association with Clive Davis. We have Whitney Houston. We have his daughter. We have countless other more likely lives ruined, affected in some way, shape, or form negatively by this predator who openly discussed on camera the fact that he's discovered his bisexuality. And I believe he did that during his Diddy days. He diddled with the diddler. Did he not? He did. And so, what does this all show? Well, I'm going to tell you what it shows. I watched as certain people. Now, folks, I listen to these folks. I don't just stay within the realm of Hebrew Israelite information. I do touch and trip the light fantastic and outside the nation, because I need to keep track of all that's going on. And I've been looking at a lot of these different lives and broadcasts on YouTube and other mediums, and I'm putting together a spherical, complete picture of what is going on. And let me tell you, it ain't good. It ain't good. It just ain't. Okay? Now, when people report about what's going on, at first, when Diddy got arrested, Clive Davis's name was mentioned unmolested. But soon, I looked at other shows, and when his name was mentioned, well, let me tell you how it goes. His name was blocked out, blurted out, bleeped out. He couldn't say Clive Davis. I need you to understand the protection offered to the Jewish community in the United States and globally. If you don't understand the connection that asserts that kind of protection, then you're not watching. You're simply playing blind. These individuals make sure at all times to protect their own kind. That's how deep the rabbit hole goes. All the blame is put on Diddy, and I know he did, because he sure did, coming out more and more every day. But the catalyst, the touchstone, the beginning of this transformation from kid trying to be an intern at a record company to record exec to billionaire to child sex trafficker to what the hell is next? And they talk about the action, they talk about his acts, they talk about what he's done, and I understand they got him on the run. But it just seems odd that the progenitor of this kind of behavior seems to enjoy the kind of protection we'd savor. Clive Davis won't see a day in jail. His name probably won't be associated with this much longer. He will not be the one that pays the cost, more likely, unless Diddy put him on tape, and then, well, that changes the dynamic. But I think even then, and all to what point? Why was this done? Folks, let's examine the Diddy situation from a different perspective, shall we? Let's. Now we know that the Jews control the media, the news, the finance, the world, the United States. We know the cabal of the demon, the synagogue of Satan. Oh yes, all of that is in absolute control of this country and have been so since the Rothschild five sons went out to create the financial monster that they are bucking against today. We know who's in charge. Damn it. And so, since we know this, we have to understand that this action upon Diddy created a chasm. It created a causality. It created the victims of crimes long for 20 some odd years or longer. As this one individual changed the trajectory of a single Negro's life, it affected our entire community to the negative. And now, as he is exposed, these same individuals hold him up as an example of what not to become and get caught as they destroy this man, rightfully so, and bring him down along with every other popular Negro they have held to high esteem and built up for us to look up to. This is the beginning of the end for the Negro in America. And if you don't believe me, listen to what the hell I'm telling you, because it is goddamn true. Now, I'm here to tell you, you better wake the hell. Everything is not peaches and cream in this country for Negroes. Diddy is the turning point, and whether you believe it or not, I don't care. I'm about to get the said I try to stop cursing. Hell out of here. This is the beginning of the end of the beginning of the end for Negroes as we know it in this country. And I'm not talking about black folks. I'm not talking about African Americans. I'm not talking about coons and shuck and jive and massa pleasing Negroes. I'm not talking about those. Those are not the Negroes I'm looking for. I'm talking about the Negroes like you and I that listen to shows like this, TL Ministries, Sister E, Covenant Awakenings, shows like me. Dante Fortson, his books are beyond measure a spiritually significant Negro treasure. And I won't even talk about Ron Dalton, who called me, I will say, Mr. Dalton, how are you? I've left my bona fides and all of my resumes, and he hasn't called me back, but I guess that's how it goes these days. These are the Negroes that they are after. These are the Negroes that don't bring them laughter. I'm not talking about the everyday common brother that's walking about the street trying to make a living. No, no, no. They're not really after that. They're not talking about the brother that go votes. You know, the brother talks about community and all. No, 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 no. They're talking about the brothers and sisters that are awake and waking and conscious. And if you do not believe they can use Diddy and all that is associated with his downfall to interconnectedly connect that to us, you have been too far back of the bus. They are after us, folks. And if you don't believe they're after the woke folks in this country and elsewhere, I need you to listen carefully to the silence, the deafening silence, the non response they have to the awakening of Negroes everywhere, and the touchstone, I say it again, it has to come from somewhere. It has to come from somewhere. They got to get us. They got to get us before we discovered who we are. I want you to do this, folks, because there's a duality in this chase. There's a duality in the chase to be in front of a Negro face, and you better understand me. I spoke to a great supporter of mine. His name is Paul Patan. I'm hoping he might join me on the show today. I've got a few great folks that assist me, and I want to take a moment just to let you know there's a few folks that do support the Doug Rice Show. I'd like to shout out to Paul Patan and David Pickett. Those two particularly have been supporting me for so long, and I appreciate you keeping this show going on strong. But back to this. This serious business. This is no joke, folks. This is the real deal. All these folks associated with Diddy, they're soon going to feel the pressure of justice as just us are held at bay up so that they can say, look at what successful Negroes become. Now, I want you to understand all the stars they're talking about falling are typically brothers and sisters, except for Justin Bieber, who I feel sorry for. And if you folks haven't heard what Diddy did to Usher, well, I don't need to say too much more. Dear God, this is beyond measure what they need to turn the tables toward us and begin the prophetic chase as they will do. I am not going to be the Jew that stayed. Now I can't leave. I can't get out of this country, but I can get clear. And there's every reason to be as far from these hillbillies as you can possibly get. Every reason in the world. First and foremost, if you ever spend any time on YouTube or TikTok or some of these shorts to watch some of these Karens, these blonde haired, blue eyed demons lose control because someone is looking at them or someone is filming them. Not to get too much off topic, but the fact that some kind of catalyst may trigger an explosive event in this country between these Europeans who've determined to settle here. I will tell you, there's plenty of an example that shows that they're all being held together by a thread. And a simple act of staring at one of them may trigger their initiation of trying to take your life. There are other apps that show the defragmenting of these individuals. I recommend them. Scoops, Scoopz. They don't permit me to post the wild behavior of these Neanderthals on any platform from that medium because it is so prevalent and prescient. What I'm saying is, folks, is real simple. Come about this election, these people are going to go right or left. And I'm going to tell you something, I'm betting on left. So is Sister E. Now, if you listen to the show Sister E did just a few days ago, she's planning a live to be held throughout the extent of the election process. And I invite all of you to join her in that endeavor because if I'm not mistaken, and I do not believe I am, at that moment, the foundation of this country will be shaken and American will be at American. Now, I remember January 6th. Most of you remember that that was the day I started this full time show, as much as I'm able to do it full time under these current circumstances. And what I watched were individuals that I knew would not be held accountable en masse doing something that Negroes would be killed en masse for doing. And I found it to be, I'll say it again, a touchstone. That's a market event. That is the beginning of something. You think of a tone that initiates itself out of silence. It is a very, very, market event. And that was a touchstone. I knew that nothing would be the same after January 6th. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't think anything's going to be the same after November 5th. And if you're not somewhere far and away and out of the reach of these individuals as they tend to play with their guns and have each other on the run, then I don't know what to tell you, son. I fully intend to go on the road. I want to build a far out abode. That's what I want to do. I don't know about you. I can't leave directly, but I can sure get the hell out of the way. And I admonish you, I beg any one of you, if you're in cities, if you have an option, take it. If you can get elsewhere, be there. Because the ripple that will run through this country and the violence that will ensue as the first shot is shot off, I mean, it's only a matter of time before they get to me and you. The center cannot hold. And Diddy is a distraction. His fall is a part of the mechanism they've put in place. Listen, folks, it's almost right in your face. They're going after all of them, at least they claim. I understand Tyler Perry is going to have a RICO Act. I understand, yes, I understand that Reverend T.D. Jakes is RICOing. I understand who else? Jay-Z's on the run. I've heard horrible things about Beyonce. Now, all of these people are people that we are taught to look up to by the establishment that puts them on the pedestal so high. Isn't that something? I mean, LeBron James, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And you know what seems to be the common thread? That the Negro men seem to be playing with each other. Almost like there's something in the food, something in the air. Or is it just a ritualistic practice in order to get there? I don't know. I understand 1,000 bottles of baby oil laced with drugs designed to get you in the mood. My goodness gracious, the banality they exude. I don't even believe this nonsense, man. It's almost beyond measure. And let me just say this to you, they're going to hold this up as a beacon for them. This is going to turn bad. All of the pieces are in place for them to turn against Negroes. The pursuit of Donald Trump by Negroes. The downfall of the mayor of New York, a Negro. I mean, I can't even express to you. And even those within our community that associated with their side are embarrassing caricatures of what they hope for us to be. One of these Negroes running for governor said that Negroes were better off during slavery. So the tide is going to slowly turn, and shortly it's Negroes who will burn. But not just that. What if, what if suddenly and out of the blue they discover that we are the true Jews? Let me take a turn, see what we learn. What if out of the blue they look at me and you and say, that's a Jew. That is a real Hebrew. That is, those are the chosen people. Now, it's one thing to be chased after because they're angry, they don't like you. It's another thing to be sought after because they think there's something about you. So the duality of what may occur for the future of Negroes is a two-tone color. I mean, at one point, they may chase us simply because they just don't like black people, but then they may also chase us because they find that we're the true Hebrews. I need you to understand one day you walking out your door, the news has hit. Negroes are the true Jews. And those that are over in Israel have killed over 40,000 people are, in fact, Ashkenazi conversions, imposters by the order of King Bulan. They're basically Polish, Russian, Ukrainians. And it's all over the news. Well, I want you to imagine you as a Negro in America that's associated yourself with the transatlantic slave trade and consider yourself a Negro, how you'll be looked upon as you walk outside your door on that fine morning. I want you to consider the paradigm shift in their behavior and how they treat you. I want you to understand that will break their mental. If all of us who they have associated with crime and drugs and unemployment and ghettos are suddenly looked upon as the chosen of the Almighty, that will stop the world cold and may put your life in danger. Either out of anger, jealousy, desperation, guilt. This thing can go left any way you count it, any way that you may imagine. But the end result, the final destination is Negroes. And how do I know this? Because they're going out of their way to ignore what they see plainly, which is our awakening. And Diddy plays into this because he will be used as a tool to accomplish their ends. and it's only a matter of time. Let me take a minute to thank you first for tuning into the Doug Rice Show. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share, and support the effort here by giving to the edifices you see scrolling right there. Come on, give it to me. No, it's not going to give it to me. Oh, there we go. Thanks so much, folks, for showing up. You know, I like to do this as much as I can, but I do encourage you, if you will, to check me out on TikTok, to check me out on Instagram, to check me out on Facebook. I'm even on Twitter because I am at heart a writer. That is what I do. I specialize in Negro prose. That's what I've coined it. These days, folks, let me tell you what I'm doing because it's really giving me a some great exposure in dealing with people. As I try to go about developing this show, getting back in the saddle, trying to find my footing, I've landed a job that has me interacting with people every day. I give away government phones, and I love it. I love it. I help people. It's honest. You know, people need what you have, and I meet some of the most interesting people. If any of you are familiar with the area, I primarily right now I'm on 12th Avenue South and Jackson Street in downtown Seattle. And if anybody wants to Google that, the speciality of that place in getting a great just an example of the microcosm through the macrocosmic view of this country. That is a perfect example of what I see, what going on in the entire country. I'm surrounded by folks that do fentanyl, that smoke fentanyl from morning to night. And it seems like a mechanism, an intended operation controlled as they slowly defragment. Because I got to tell you, without doubt, I've not seen so many white folks doing so bad in all my life. That is a fact. I'm looking at them slowly degrade into degradation. And just a few days ago, if I might drift a bit, in asking one of them who was smoking meth, a bit of a difference between the typical fentanyl. I asked him to move, and he gave me the prideful look that only a white man can give me in defiance. And, you know, I had to tell him about himself. I was very, very shocking. And you can imagine what I said to him. You can imagine what came out of my mouth, unfiltered. It was vile, absolutely. But it was felt justified in having to tell this individual who stood openly in the middle of downtown Seattle smoking meth at a bus stop that somehow his station was still yielded above mine, and he could defiantly stand there and show how disgraceful he can truly be. And I invited him to exit, and he did promptly. So that's why I see, folks. I don't just talk. I'm out there looking. I'm out there seeing. I have a lot to report. And that's what we're going to get back to. Again, thank you again for supporting the show. And do tune in to Sister E's show. Do tune in to TL Ministries. If you're looking for spiritual nourishment, these are the places you go. If you're looking for some information, otherwise, come to the Doug Rice Show. All right, here's what we're going to do. I am going to go over some Negro news and see if we can find something to peruse. The first half of the show being over, and I do appreciate you tuning in. I want to close it with a little black news, as this has been something people have been asking for, along with the get that goddamn grin off your face. So I will do so. I'm going to go over some news for Negroes, see what we can find that might pique our interest. And we'll make sure I got the right place. Bing. And audio as well. Boom. There we go. All right. So I'm doing this cold this time. I just want to see what I see. Let's see what we got. Now, I look up black news. That's all I do. All right. Let me see if I can make that a little larger for you. Boom. Okay, I look up black news. 2 words, 2 terms, and we see what we learn. I don't know about the comedy series celebrating black excellence in HSCB love for 40 years. Nope. What's this? Police in small residents. Let's see what this. Police in small residence city discriminate against black residents. Department of Justice. Let me see here. So you're in Mississippi and they're discriminating against black people using excessive force, retaliating against critics. I mean, the noose is tightening around us, folks. I don't know if you're aware, but in these principalities, police departments, in these other areas of political control, you're finding that right wing nationalism, white nationalism, is coming into the fold. And more of this, racial disparities, uh, it's just coming. It's amazing what's happening. The Justice Department report outlines a stunning pattern of racially disparate policing and harassment in Lexington, a rural town of 1,200 people, approximately 76% of whom are black. And this is the norm, folks. This is happening all over the world, all over the country, excuse me. What is this? Black enrollment drops at top schools as affirmative action is axed. Again, the noose is tightening. After the U.S. Supreme Court ended affirmative action in college admissions last year, experts predicted 2 consequences. The number of black students on campus at selective schools would drop, and the number of Asian American students would rise. Well, now, they were half right, at least according to early data, as schools begin to release demographic information for the first class admitted after the landmark decision. Most elite universities, including Harvard, Amherst, and University of Virginia, are reporting lower enrollment for black students, but only inconsistent gains for Asian American. Folks, I can show by just by article after article after article how bad it is for us in this country. It's only going to get worse. All the rights and protections that were developed and voted on and passed in the 60s are being stripped away by the right wing court majority created by Donald Trump. And there's really no remedy. There's no cure. What they've done is release the floodgates of their uh, their racist feeling against us, and just let it let it flow. Now, listen to this. This was interesting. Make sure I get it. Britain's racist immigration laws led to wrongful deportations of black people. Now, now that happened in Britain. Okay. That happened in Britain. Let's see here. London. Britain's wrongful detention and deportation of Caribbean migrants was the result of decades of racist immigration laws designed to reduce the country's non white population, a long withheld official report on Thursday. Do you think that cannot happen here? We know that Donald Trump has promised to deport 10 million people. And I just imagine how many are going to be brothers and sisters. I just don't understand it. The news is not good for Negroes in this country. They want your vote, they want your support, they want all the things that you can give them while giving nothing in return. And what's interesting is they go back into yesteryear to award Negroes that was so helpful in giving them what they have today. 80 years after D-Day, families of black World War II combat medics receive his medal for heroism. So what? What symbolism does that actually portray? Let's read it. Waverly B. Woodson, who was part of the only African-American combat unit involved in D-Day invasion during World War II, spent more than a day treating wounded troops under heavy German fire, all while injuring himself decades later and nearly 20 years after his death. His family finally received the recognition that was denied many black service members. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care that this 95-year-old widow got them. You know what? Did she get any kind of compensation for her inability to get a GI loan after her husband gave her life? I mean, what is going on here? You're giving out medals, but you're not giving out money. Well, I understand, but I don't need the medals. You know, the damage done to Negroes in this country just being here amongst these individuals so hell-bent on keeping everything to themselves. They are a greedy bunch of individuals, folks. They want to keep it all. All right, so what's this? I don't understand this particular article. It says, stop telling black kids to write about trauma in college admission essays. Black children are writing about their trauma in college admission essays? I did not know that. Why would you want them to stop that? That's very interesting. I'm not going to take the time to read that. It's not, doesn't interest me as much as the other news I might find. Oh, but this one I do like. This is more like my kind. Isn't this something? Harris and Trump campaigns are targeting black men, but many say they feel neglected. You know, let me explain something. If neglect was what I was feeling as a black man in America, I could deal with neglect. Neglecting it doesn't even come close to describing what they do to black men in this country. And I will tell you, voting for somebody ain't going to change the paradigm. It's not going to change the dynamic. They're still going to treat us without worth always, never hear us, never listen to a thing that we say. We can be talking to ourselves as far as they're concerned. That's why I do it. Hey, all right. So yeah, I mean, I dig it. You know, Kamala, she's supposed to now be a black woman, and and of course, Trump just loves black people, and they want black men's votes, and many say they feel neglected. Now, I got to tell you something. I hope Noah, with last name Bierman, or Jenny Jarvie, I hope one of them is at least black. When you start talking about what we want, do me a favor, at least include a black writer to get our actual perspective. At least a black man. Everybody speaks for us, but nobody listens to us. Everybody speaks for Negroes, but nobody listens to Negroes, specifically men. They certainly don't want to hear what we have to say, but soon that will change. Let me see what else we got. Oh, what's this? You know what? This Chicago organizers work to ease black-brown tensions. What you mean black-brown tensions? What you mean black-brown tensions? What's that about? Hold up. Black and brown tension? What? Because Hispanics don't get construction jobs and shit like that, right? Come on, man. Stop the black-brown. Stop it. Two groups. Advocates for black workers. Another focused on most Latino workers and families, which I don't understand Latino workers work. Oh man, so migrants don't have to work. Do I have to say that? I don't understand. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? They're not taking jobs because they don't need jobs. Who needs a job when you got $19,000 in food stamps and $26,000 in cash benefits on a fucking card? Did I curse? Too bad. Who needs jobs? Stop saying these people are taking our jobs. They're not taking our jobs. Not taking our jobs. They ain't working. They're kicking it. I watch these people walk up and down the streets of Seattle wearing brand new shit. They're not going to work. Stop that. Stop. That's not happening. And I don't care. Let them flood in here and make these white folks as uncomfortable as possible. That's what I hope. Next, just wanting to see what we got here. What is this? Oh, the same thing. Same thing. Oh, really? Really? Do you think Garland? Here's what Garland is saying. Garland says that the two officers' torture of two black men was betrayal of the community they swore to protect. Every time one of them puts on a badge, it's a betrayal of the community they swore to protect because that badge originates with slave catchers, so fuck them. It's their dream, a fucking fantasy that they have to keep us and torture us. These two white people that adopted 5 children kept them to torture them and make them work. It's a thing for these fucking creatures that they have black people in captivity and that they hurt us. Now, mind you, folks, we've never done a goddamn thing to any of these people. We don't have a hate-filled bone in our body for a single white person to the point that we want to hold one of them in captivity to torture them for. If you do, no, 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 no. That's not what we do. Okay? That's what they do. But when you give a couple of these Neanderthals badges, you feel me? And they torture us. See, that's a fantasy these fucks have. That's what's going on here. Now, one of the reasons I try not to read the news too often because it gets me to cursing. I'm sorry. I don't look. If you're a Negro in this country and you don't understand your place and position, you need to get the hell out of this live. I ain't playing. And if my profanity offends you, tell me how this doesn't. Now, I don't know if you know what these 6 officers did, example of justice. And please don't tell me that they were black and all this. I don't give a damn. Once you put on a slave catcher's badge, you are the white man. It doesn't take away from the myriads of black men who've lost their lives by police, white police, black. I don't care what your denominational color is in this spectrum of things. Once that badge hits your chest, you right there with the rest. You are fantasizing. These people are fantasizing about doing something to Negroes. And that fantasy is infectious, obviously, because typically you don't find Negroes torturing nobody. Moving on. Bottom line, what's this? To reach black men, Kamala Harris campaign. What? What did you read this? Read this. Read this, please. What does that say? Really? Who told her this? Who told her this shit here? To reach black men, listen to me. Harris comes into the barbershop. Ain't nobody gonna listen to her. Ain't nobody interested. Look, chick, get out of here, man. Take your narrow ass the hell out of here, partner. Go to an Indian fucking food restaurant and order something, man. I don't understand. To reach black men, she should campaign in barbershops. I wish she would. Because in the black barbershops, they usually got the sisters right there. She gonna meet a sister, and then she gonna have to act a little too black for comfort. Come on now, y'all know. Kamala Harris go out in the public, she gonna have to act a little too black for public. She ain't gonna come around us because we don't expect her to act like she was acting when she went to the HCBCU she was going, the historically black college she was going to. That's where she picked up this flavor. She fakes it just like Obama fakes it. Screw this chick. I'm not impressed with this broad. You feel me? Get out of here with this nonsense. Stop it already. You're an Indian. Your mother taught you the caste system. You know what? I bet her mother's pissed off. Her whole family. You see that picture I posted on Facebook, this woman in her Indian garb? You need to stop. You don't like black people, and you particularly don't like brothers. You know why you don't like brothers? Because you're married to a white man. So let me ask y'all, just think on this a moment. What if she came into my orbit and decided to campaign near me and allowed me to speak my mind? You think she'd like what I have to say? I bet that chick could call me the N-word. I bet I'll make her do it. Stop. Kamala Harris don't impress me. I hope she don't impress you. I hope y'all folks ain't interested in voting for this. Look, I don't say vote for Donald Trump. I don't say vote for Kamala. I say don't vote. What does it matter? They're not going to do anything of any value. They're not going to do anything except keep up what keeps them up. Kamala is just not, it's just not having it here. All right, so what's this now? What's this here? Judge faces consequences. And what does she do? Got to get that bigger. Boom. If humiliating, oh yeah, now I can do my fair use thing. You guys just bear with me because I've been wanting to do that. I can use volume. Let's see what's going on. Can I see what's going on? There's a video. Yes, here it is. Oh my God, there.
A Detroit judge has been temporarily removed from the bench after having a teenage girl handcuffed during a courtroom visit. 15-year-old Eva Goodman visited the court Tuesday as part of a nonprofit summer program. Well, Goodman started falling asleep, and the judge found that to be disrespectful and had Goodman placed in handcuffs and a jail uniform. Goodman's mother says her daughter was tired because the family does not have a permanent home.
You sleep at home in your bed, not in court.
So the fact that
Stop. So let me just say black on black prejudice. Let's talk about that for a minute. Of course, I don't review before I go. I'll just look at the information for the show. But it seems that when they put one of us in a position of power and authority, and a Negro comes into focus, it's about that time that they begin with the hocus pocus. Suddenly they become a caricature of negrosity and turn into white folks right in front of our faces. I had no idea. I thought it would be, a white judge, of course. Well, that didn't turn out. But fact of the matter is, to take every opportunity in their positions to berate, to belittle if they can. And I think, again, it's just acting like the white man. All right, let me go to the next one. That's just gonna age poorly. I'm pretty sure. I think I saw some people leave on that one. I don't fucking. All right, what are we doing? TJ Maxx associate. Oh no, don't shop at TJ Maxx. Remember the kid who got thrown out of school? Remember that? Remember the kid that got thrown out of school for the hair he was wearing? He wants back in the school. He wants back in the school. I don't quite understand. Black student punished for his hairstyle wants to return to the Texas school he left. So Juana Lozano. See, I notice everything about these stories that they try to put up here. So Juana Lozano, and look how this is how she worded that. That was intentional. That wording was intentional. So a black high school student in Texas who was punished for nearly all of his junior year over his hairstyle has left his school district rather than spend another year in school suspension. But Daryl George would like to return to his Houston school in the Barbers Hill School District. Interesting. It's about hair, and it's Barbers School District for his senior year, and asked the federal judge to issue a temporary restraining order to prevent the school district from further punishing him for not cutting his hair. Now, I need you to understand. I need you to dig it, man. The true story is that he has petitioned the judge to return to school for his graduation year, and he doesn't want to be penalized. He wants to keep his hair and to remain the same. The way Mr. Lozano decided to write this was a more kind of depreciation of the facts in kind of, tongue in cheek. He left the school. Now he wants to return it. He wants to return and not wear it and not be affected by how his hair looks, which I might add is got to be the weirdest fetish that these Europeans have. Our hair seems to be a fetish to these individuals. And seeing it done in a certain way triggers them. I've noticed in most respects, a sister's hair, beautiful, flowing, suddenly she's got a problem because the hairstyle offends these beings. I don't understand that. It just say, this is, and maybe it's the reason I'm on their blonde hair. Maybe that's it, because I think blonde hair is an infection. I think doing it purposefully shows mental illness, and I think those with it by natural either develop a mental illness or one lays dormant, ready to be triggered. Because if you look at World War II and the proponents of that fiasco in trying to cleanse the world of everything not blonde-haired and blue-eyed, and you look at what we have today that follows Donald Trump to the ends of the earth, nothing but blonde-haired, blue-eyed demons. For God's sake, there's a problem. I'm just not afraid to say it. That's all. And let me back it up with receipts. Seems that the FBI, boom, FBI shows hate crime surge against black people amid rising extremism. Oh, really? Really, the report is a call to counter the dangerous ideologies that drive racial violence in the age of Trump and the alt-right by Amari Apple. Now we know Amari is a brother. See the difference in writing styles when it comes to the background of the person doing the writing. Anybody not associated with the Negro experience writes askew. Anybody associated with us openly writes like me and you. I was trying to get it there. So the report, it is a call. The report, it is a call to counter. No, that's a typo. The report is a call to counter the dangerous ideologies that drive racial violence in the age of alt-Trump. The FBI's latest, let me make that bigger so y'all see it. The FBI's latest data on hate crimes reveals a troubling surge in racial violence across the United States, with Black Americans bearing the brunt of attacks. From 2020 to 2024, the agency recorded 14,840 hate crimes targeting Black individuals. 14,840 crimes in a space of 4 years. I need you to understand that. What is on these people's minds? Why is violence against us a thing? What is the basis for Neanderthal hatred? And we're talking about white people and Mexican people that are not Negroes against us, hating us, crime, not black on black crime. And of course, they will never talk about white on white crime, which is the largest crime dynamic in this country and globally. But I digress. This increase comes amid the rise of alt-right extremism and the resurgence of white nationalistic rhetoric during the Trump era. The report underscores the persistent threat faced by Black communities, exacerbated by figures like J.D. Vance, whose recent anti-Haitian and overall anti-immigrant disinformation campaigns fuel further division and hostility. No, they don't. No, they don't. No, they don't. That's just something that he adds like icing on the cake. There's nothing that fuels the hatred these creatures have for us. It's a self-perpetuating hatred. There's nothing that fuels their hatred. Their hatred isn't fueled by anything. It just is. That's why it's forever. That's why their seed is spoiled. Because if there were a fuel that fed their hatred, we just deny them the fuel and their hatred would go away. What are you talking about? And J.D. Vance is the worst of the worst. He wrote a book called Hillbilly Elegy that puts these hillbillies on a fucking pedestal. Like their rancid ass hillbilly asses don't stink like everybody else's. And this book makes them just the most pathetic, feel sorry for me. Let me tell you something, man. They are descendants of degenerates. That's what these creatures are. We need to talk about this openly. Do you know why they came to this country? Because Europe didn't want them. Because Europe didn't dig slaves. Because Europe felt, you know what? If I want to earn something, I'll just fucking work for it myself. So these people who wanted free religion predicated that religion based on the fact that their religion allowed slavery. Lazy fucking bastards. And all that they have, they gave to fools. These people killed and maimed and murdered millions upon millions of indigenous people that were here, whether they were Negroes or not, I don't care. They trafficked in people to come over here and build this country, and then they handed it to the likes of fucking fools like Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Paul Gosar, Marjorie Lee Taylor, and Donald fucking Trump. Give me a break. They're turning around in their graves right now. They can't believe it. White people died for these fools, and they're fucking it up. They can't even hold the center. And guess what? Now they're letting in the immigrants. I'm just imagining their forefathers just flipping the fuck out. And what do? They hate. That's their thing. That's what these cretins do. They hate. It's almost like a fucking profession. It's all they got. If they don't hate, what the fuck do? They peddle in hate. They sell hate. And you know how they fuel it? In fear. If you want to call that the fuel, that's it. That's the reason it's ever present, because they're always fucking scared. But I drift. These are the shows that people say they like when I go on my little rangents, and so I do. But I'm not going on these rangents because of nothing. Let me show you. Hate crimes and the rise of the alt-right. The spike in hate crimes targeting black people. Stop saying black Americans. Stop that shit. The spike in hate crimes targeting black people. That's who you fucking want to kill. Mirrors the ascension of Trump in presidential politics, though it started long before with the GOP candidate, according to his own relatives. The latest spike is also attributed to the growing prominence of the alt-right, which thrives, listen to that word, thrives on anti-black, anti-immigration, and what? White nationalistic rhetoric. That's what these people are about. Now, understand that this white nationalistic rhetoric is based on white supremacy. And I'm looking at these creatures every day as they walk the streets of Seattle, broken down like a goddamn fraction. And they are far from supreme. Light itself rejects these creatures. I want you to hear that again. Light itself rejects them. And they got the nerve to be hate-filled based on color. That's the banality. That's the ridiculousness of white supremacy. That's what gets me the most amped up, I got to tell you. And when you got folks like J.D. Vance talking about Haitian immigrants are eating cats and dogs, let me tell you something, folks. Let me tell you. If Haitians was eating cats and dogs, you'd know about it because the bodies would be over there. You know what people think about their cats and dogs in this country? You let a Haitian or anyone else eat a cat and a dog in the wrong area, and you will know it. There'll be no guesswork. There's going to be proof. That's why it's a nasty thing to say, but this is what they are. They're nasty about their hatred. It's just true, man. And you know it, I know it, we know it. And no one really wants to say there's a problem with these creatures who seem to glom and grow on hate. No one really wants to talk about it. I will. Targeting Black Americans. According to the FBI report, intimidation and vandalism, the most common forms of hate crimes against Black individuals, frequently occurring in Black neighborhoods and public spaces. This reinforces a sense of danger that extends beyond the individual to the broader Black community. White perpetrators were identified in the majority of these cases, reflecting the racial polarization that has deepened in recent years. The fact that these crimes spiked during the height of Black Lives Matter movement in June 2020 suggests a direct backlash against demands for racial justice. No. They elected a white supremacist Klansman. They elected a straight cracker. They knew his father attended the Klan rally. They know he's "Make America Great" was the motto of the Klan. He knows all this. They know he denied Negroes fair housing. They know he put a full-page ad about the Central Park Fire. They know what they're doing with this man they call Donald Trump. Stop. All he did was open the door. He just placed his hand on the knob of their racist intent, twisted it, and let it swing open. And they just poured in. And so now As of the date of this being the 24th of September, targeting Black Americans seems to be something they like to do. And it's so much to the point that they writing about it. This backlash intensified as alt-right and those who espouse their ideology like Vance began amplifying anti-Black narratives, often through coded language or outright disinformation. Trump's and Vance's intentional promotion of xenophobic conspiracy theories about Haitian immigrants plays into a long-standing history of vilifying Black people, whether native born or immigrant, vilifying Black people, whether native born or immigrant, as threats to white security and economic stability. At what point have we ever been a threat to the white security and white economic stability of this country? What? This is some made up shit that people like J.D. Vance, who I might add, seems to be etching out a path toward the presidency, not just the vice presidency. J.D. Vance sees Donald Trump as a temporary obstacle to him being the next president of the United States. And let me tell you something, if this hillbilly European demon ascends to the presidency, he's going to make Donald Trump look like Tiny fucking Tim. Because that's youth right there. And ain't nothing like young, youthful white hatred. It's most effective. Look at the 60s and the 50s when they were young. Why is it these white boys want to start a race war? Why is it that these white boys go to churches and to shopping centers and murder Negroes en masse for the sole purpose of starting a goddamned race war? You ever ask yourself that? More importantly, what Negro have you heard of who has decided to kill up a bunch of goddamn white people to start a race war? Not one. Not one. Because we don't want a race war. Why? Because they're fucking crazy. That's why. Because God has handed Edom the sword and they wield it so well. And this is what they want. Negroes are targeted as their system fails them. Negroes are the target as their system crumbles. Some of them are getting an early start. We find the Negroes tied to trees. Negroes not coming back from camping trips with these demons. We got cops just walking up to Negroes sitting in their car minding their goddamn business, just murdering them. Cops walking into stores, Negroes standing at the counter, just murdering them. And you wonder why I encourage each and every one of you to get as clear from this circumstance as possible. Well, what else I got to do? I don't know. For the most part, folks, I will tell you that these are not your friends. These are not your friends. And I know you want them to be your friends, but when it comes down to it, when it all comes down to it, you have no friends. Negroes are targeted as their system crumbles. And it begins with Diddy. I kid you not. They're reporting the influx and targeting of Black people. They're reporting it every single day, and this is just a new report. They're reaching back into yesteryear to give dead Negroes awards for their heroism in wars fought almost a century ago. Folks, this isn't a phantom. This is going to happen. And the template that they're using and barreling forward into the future is Nazi Germany. I will say it again, I will not be the Jew that stayed. they're going to have to find me. And when it becomes an open fact that you are the target and you begin to scurry and run, I hope that you find safety somewhere and don't come undone. I truly do. I need you folks to stay alert, keep alert. Don't get lulled into a false sense of security. It does not exist. Don't be distracted by what they offer to us. Take a look for yourself. There is much more news to be had. They've got floods happening all over the country. They've got maneuvers going here and there. Diddy isn't the only thing that we need to focus on. But remember that the end result will always be Negroes, because we are the center of this equation. And I say that with a great deal of humility, because it comes with a great deal of responsibility. As being the ambassadors to the kingdom of heaven, that is what we are. I know some call it kings and priests and judges, and I understand that is exactly what we are as well. But more than that, we represent on this planet what they are fighting hard to keep hidden, and that is the kingdom of God. All right, folks, I'm about talked out. I did about an hour show. I hope I did well, just so you know. My name is Doug Rice. I appreciate your time and sitting here about an hour listening to me rhyme. Please do me a favor. Like, subscribe, and share, and do that other thing you see down there. I'll be back, I would say, maybe next week. Maybe maybe tomorrow. I do appreciate you. I'm going to go now. I'm going to take off. You folks have a great rest of your Sabbath. Shabbat Shalom.